For problems 1 through 4, you're going to be proving or disproving whether a point lies on the circle or not. Your answer will be a yes or no answer. You will have some work to support that though. So I've written up here the 2 steps that you have to do in order to tell whether a point's on a circle or not. You first need to write the equation of the circle. So you know to write the equation you have to know the center point, so you can put that in for h and k, and you have to know the radius in order to put that into the r squared part of the equation. So most of these, or all of these, you're going to have to find the radius first. You're going to be given the center. So there's 2 different ways that you can find the radius. You can either use the equation of the circle to solve for r squared by putting the center in for h and k and the other point that's on the circle in for x and y. Or you can use the distance formula to find the distance between the center and the point on the circle. So if you do that, you're finding r, and you need to remember to square it to put it into the equation. After you have written the equation of the circle, then you put the point you're trying to prove or disprove, whether it's on the circle, in for the x and y of your equation and see if it makes it true or not. So let's look at number 1. We want to prove or disprove whether this point lies on the circle that has this center, so this is my h and k, and contains this point. So we know for sure this is a point on the circle. We're trying to say yes or no whether this point is on the circle or not. So we're going to write the equation of the circle using this center and this point on the circle. So I'm going to find my radius squared by using the equation of the circle. I'm going to put my center in for h and k, and I'm going to put the point 5, -6 in for x and y. So this is my x, this is my y. So I'm going to have x minus h be 5 minus -5, which becomes 5 plus 5 squared. And then I'm going to put y minus k as -6 minus -9, which is -6 plus 9 squared. And that equals my radius squared. So 5 plus 5 is 10, so I have 10 squared. -6 plus 9 is 3, plus 3 squared is my r squared. So 10 squared is 100, 3 squared is 9, which means my r squared value is 109. So now I can write the equation of the circle. Remember, the equation of the circle always has an x and y in it. You won't put numbers in for x and y when you're writing the equation. So you'll have x minus h, which is x minus -5, which is x plus 5 squared, plus y minus k, which becomes y plus 9, since it's minus a negative, squared, equals your r squared. This is my r squared, so I don't need to square it again. It's already the radius squared. So this is the equation of the circle where x and y represent all the points, all the infinite number of points that are on the circle. So now I can see whether yes or no this point is on the circle or not by putting this in for x and this in for y. So I'm going to put the -15 in for the x. I'm going to put the -12 in for the y, and I'm going to see, is this a correct statement or not? Are those things equivalent? Well, -15 plus 5 is -10, so I'll be squaring -10 here. -12 plus 9 is -3, so I'll be squaring -3 there. And -10 squared is the same thing as +10 squared. It's 100. -3 squared is the same thing as 3 squared. It is 9. So I do get 109, just like the other side of the equation has. So my answer for this one would be yes. This point is on that circle. Let's look at another one. On number 2, this is our center, 1, 1, and it definitely contains the point 6, 5. This is our yes or no point, 2, 7. So we're going to find our r squared value first by putting the 6 in for x, the y in for 5, the 5 in for y, and then our h and k values. So we'll have x minus h would be 6 minus 1 squared, plus y minus k squared would be 5 minus 1 squared, and this is going to give us our r squared value. 6 minus 1 is 5, so we have 5 squared. 5 minus 1 is 4, so we have 4 squared. 5 squared is 25, 4 squared is 16. So when I add those, I get 41 for my r squared value. Remember, this is not my radius. This is the r squared, the radius squared. So that's ready to go in the equation of my circle. So now when I write my equation of a circle, remember I have to have an x and a y. So I would have x minus h of 1 squared plus y minus k of 1 squared equals r squared, which is 41. Now I can put the point that I'm wondering whether it's on the circle or not in for the x and the y. So the 2 will go in for the x, the 7 will go in for the y, and I want to know, does that equal 41? Well, 2 minus 1 is 1, so I'll have 1 squared here. 7 minus 1 is 6, so I'll have 6 squared here. 1 squared is 1, 6 squared is 36, and 1 plus 36 is 37. That does not equal 41, the other side of the equation. So this would be a no. That point is not on this circle. Number 3, we want to prove or disprove whether the point 9, 2, this is our yes or no point, lies on the circle centered at 3, 5, so that's our h and k, and containing the point -1, -1, so that's our x and y. So we can find r squared by doing x minus h, -1 minus 3 squared, plus y minus k, -1 minus 5 squared, to find our r squared value. So -1 minus 3 is -4. -1 minus 5 is -6. Don't forget, every single time you square a number, you get a positive result. -4 squared is 16. -6 squared is 36. So my r squared is 16 plus 36, which is 52. Now I can write the equation of the circle using the x and y. So we have x minus h, x minus 3 squared, plus y minus k, y minus 5 squared, equals r squared, which is 52. So this is the equation of the circle. Now we're going to put the 9 and 2 in for the x and y to see if it makes a true statement. So we'd have 9 minus 3 squared plus 2 minus 5 squared. We want to know, does that equal 52? 9 minus 3 is 6, so we'd have 6 squared here. 2 minus 5 is -3, so we'd have -3 squared here. 6 squared is 36. -3 squared is 9. And 36 plus 9 is 45, not 52. So this one is also a no. That point is not on this circle. Number 4, prove or disprove whether this point, -20, -42, this is our yes or no point, lies on the circle centered at -8, -3, so this is our h and k, and contains the point 36, 48. This is our x and y. So we're going to find our r squared value by doing x minus h. 36 minus a -8 would be 36 plus 8 squared, plus y minus k squared would be 48 minus a -3, or 48 plus 3 squared, and that'll give us our r squared value. 36 plus 8 is 44, so we have 44 squared. 48 plus 3 is 51, so we get 51 squared. Those are pretty big numbers, so 44 squared is 1,936. 51 squared is 2,601. So we need to add those together to find our r squared value is 4,537. Now we can write the equation of our circle using x and y. X minus -8 would be x plus 8 squared. Remember, this sign and that sign will always be opposites. Plus y minus a -3 is y plus 3 squared. Again, those signs will be opposites. Equals our r squared of 4,537. So now we can put our yes or no point in for the x and y of our equation to see if it makes a true statement. So we'll have -20 in for the x. We'll put in -42 for the y, and we'll see if that equals 4,537 or not. -20 plus 8 is -12, so this will be -12 squared. -42 plus 3 is -39, so that'll be -39 squared. Negative 12 squared is a positive 144. Negative 39 squared is positive 1,521. And when you add those together, you get 1,665, which does not equal 4,537. So this answer is also no. This point does not lie on that circle.